Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera show. I am so excited today to be at Woodside in Aiken, and we are so excited over here because Southern Living has chosen Woodside for one of their Southern Living inspired homes, and I'm in one of them today. It is just beautiful, and the kitchen for me sells the house immediately. You walk in, it's open, it's light, it's airy. I just cannot wait to be in here today. So we've got some really fun things to do. Southern Living, of course, is my go-to magazine for recipes, what's hot, what's not, you know, what you can do really great in the kitchen. And this time of the year, they are focusing on Easter, and we're going to be preparing some of the dishes in their April issue today. So we're going to do a fantastic dessert, really light and airy. It's a beautiful meringue. It's going to have strawberries and a great cream filling. Then we're going to do a port honey lacquered ham. Oh my goodness, it is going to be so beautiful on your buffet. And then, you know, I'm famous for a carrot cake. Well, these are carrot cake biscuits. Be so pretty on the buffet. You could also stuff them with that ham you're going to cook. And then finally, we're going to do an asparagus dish just to kind of round things out. We're going to be talking about decor and decorations, so we've got quite a bit to do. So let's get started on these meringues. They can get done ahead and be put in the oven and just kind of forgotten about. So we're going to get started with those, and I went ahead and got my egg whites whipped almost to a stiff peak point. And now, this is when you have to be a little bit on the patient side, which for many times is very hard for me. But I've got them to exactly where I want them. Now I'm going to add my cornstarch to the sugar. And the cornstarch, of course, helps get these really stiff, because you want these meringue shells to be just really beautiful. So we're going to start adding this 1 tablespoon at a time. Like I said, you've got to be patient because it'll weep quickly if you don't. Okay, so I'm going to get this last little bit of sugar in, and we're going to add a little bit of vanilla. We used to call these forgotten cookies because you get them on the cookie sheet and then you forget about it. You just put them in the oven and they're done. So we've got some nice stiff peaks. Wow. And I'm going to get 8 of these from this recipe. And so what you want to do at this point is just use a really deep round spoon, and you're going to mound 8 of these up. And if we go ahead and spread them all out, then you can come back and take away if they're not exactly even. So those are going to go on the sheet pan like that, and then you just take a spoon and you want to swirl it around and just press down in the middle. It's kind of like a bird's nest. That's where your yummy filling is going to go. I love this recipe. Love to do this with my grandchildren. Okay, so now the insides are really what's great. And we want to macerate these strawberries so they're nice and juicy and all the natural. And this has an elderberry liqueur in it. So we're going to put that in. A little bit of fresh mint. I mean, this is just making my mouth water. And strawberries are so seasonal right now. It's going to be fantastic. Just going to stir those together. Oh, the aroma is great. All right, so then for the cream part, we've got the mascarpone cheese that you can pick up at the fresh market. I've got some coconut cream. I mean, does this just sound fantastic? And whipped cream that I whipped just a few minutes ago. So when you talk about a light dessert that has Easter written all over it, that's what Southern Living is known for, is to give you the heads up on what is going to be spectacular to serve for all of your buffets. All right, so we have got a great giveaway that we're going to be doing that is going to have you in this very same kitchen with me somewhere between April 21st and May 29th. So come back with us well, after the break, because I'm going to tell you more about that and also introduce you to all of these other recipes we're doing, like the lacquered ham out of the April Southern Living magazine. So come back with me in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody, and if you're just joining me, I'm at Woodside in Aiken, South Carolina. They have a Southern Living inspired home that is going to be open to the public starting in April through May. We've got the dates right here on the screen, and I hope you're going to be able to come visit us over here. And I'm having the best time in the kitchen today, just a fantastic kitchen, and we're making recipes out of the April issue of Southern Living magazine, and they are suggesting all kinds of things for April and for Easter. So we've got the meringues in the oven, and they are just smelling great. They're going to be nice and crisp, light filling to go with that. And now we're going to get started on a honey port lacquered ham. And isn't it just beautiful? I'm telling you, we got one done yesterday that I just love. And we went ahead and got the ham. When I bought this, it was actually twice this big. So it was these two pieces together. We just had the butcher take it apart in half for us. And then the recipe in Southern Living suggests that you use a box cutter to score the top. And I thought, oh my goodness. But it's actually a little tough on the top. The skin is like the crackling, it really gets tough. And so the box cutter really makes it easier for you to go through and get that nice score. It's just part of the presentation process. So I went ahead and got that done. And now I've got a great rub that I'm going to use on top of it. And I'm going to put some gloves on because there's quite a bit of garlic in that. So it's garlic and fresh rosemary, which are actually my favorite spices to use on ham or pork. I'm going to add quite a bit of kosher salt and some freshly ground pepper. And you want to just make a paste out of this. Just get that all mixed up really well. And then we're just going to start putting it all over the top and just try to get some down in those crevices that you cut with the box cutter. So this particular roast weighs about 10 to 12 pounds, and I've preheated the oven to 350, and it's going to bake for approximately 4 hours. So we want to have that nice and covered up. And then you're also going to use some salt and pepper just on the sides to just continue seasoning. So I'll finish that up in a few minutes because I want to go ahead and make the lacquer port that goes on the top. So what I've got here is some honey. Gosh, and all these aromas are just going to be so fantastic in your kitchen. I've got red wine vinegar, some fresh cloves, and a little bit more pepper. And I've actually made some of this in advance too that I'm just going to grab off the top of the stove. So what you're going to do to that is you're going to put it on the stove and let it reduce down. So you see we've gone from all this volume to just a really nice thick glaze that's going to go on the top. All right, so now this baked for 4 hours, and we're going to just take this and sear it. So I have this in my roasting pan. It's on top of actually a cookie cooling rack that I have. And you see all that wonderful liquid in the bottom. You're going to actually add about a cup of water to the pan before it goes in the oven, because the rendering of the fat won't take place right away, and you don't want to scorch the bottom of your pan. But it also creates a nice liquid that you can make a delicious gravy to go with this as well. All right, so this one, I'm going to do the same process. This is going to go in the oven. And when we come back from the break, I'm going to get started on the carrot cake biscuits. But I'm also going to tell you a little bit about how you can win a trip to Aiken, South Carolina to stay in a beautiful inn, tour all of these houses, have a fantastic dinner. You do not want to miss this. So come back with us in just a few minutes. Vera's Corner is brought to you by Jeff's Sewing and Vacuum. It's that time of year again. It's time to dye eggs for Easter. So I've got a really fun technique today that's going to show you how to make an ombre egg that the kids are going to love, and you're going to have fun creating it. Place a plastic bottle cap in the bottom of a cup or glass, then stand a hard-boiled egg upright on the bottle cap. In a small liquid measuring cup, mix together 1 teaspoon of white vinegar and 40 drops of food coloring. Add half a cup of boiling water, then carefully pour down the side of the cup, being sure not to pour directly onto the egg. Pour until the bottom quarter of the egg is submerged, then let it sit for 5 minutes, being careful not to disturb the cup. After 5 minutes, carefully pour warm water down the side of the cup until half of the egg is covered, then let that sit for 3 minutes. Continue at least 2 more times, adding as many stripes as desired. Wait 3 minutes between each water addition. After an entire egg has been covered, remove with tongs to a drying rack to dry completely. Try this technique with a few different colors for a fashionable Easter basket. Everybody, and I'm so happy to be with you today and making all of these wonderful recipes from Southern Living's April issue that's all about Easter and just great spring entertaining, whether it's a family gathering or a brunch, maybe celebrating graduation coming up. These are all some really fantastic recipes. So we've got the pork back in the oven, and I took it out and just poured that wonderful reduction glaze with the honey and the port. It's gonna just lacquer the whole top of it. So, you know, you can almost use that as the centerpiece. It's so beautiful. So that's back in the oven for about 10 minutes. And now we're gonna get started on the carrot cake biscuits, which obviously is my personal favorite, being such a familiar person to carrot cake. So I went ahead and got my flour measured in my pan. I've added in the cinnamon, the brown sugar, the salt, the baking powder, baking soda, and just whisk that together. Now I'm going to incorporate the carrots and raisins that are also pre-chopped. You just don't want real big chunks of either one of those. So I've just mixed those in. And I like to just shred the carrots myself instead of buying the ones that are already done in the store. So that makes it really fresh and nice. And a great big bowl like this also comes in really handy when you're doing that. All right, so now we're going to get started with the really chilled cubes of butter. And I've found from all of my friends that do homemade biscuits for a living that the best way to do this is using your hands. So you can use a pastry blender if you want to, but if you really want to do it old school, then you want to get your hands in there. And basically all you're doing is just using your fingertips and just breaking up the pieces of butter to get it incorporated into the flour. And you're looking, it doesn't matter if there's some big chunks left, but you just want to mix it up as best you can. And again, having that butter nice and cold makes the process go really well. I've measured my buttermilk and I've let that come to room temperature, because unlike the butter, you want that to be nice and kind of lukewarm. All right, so let's add the buttermilk in. All right. And now we're just going to mix that with a fork. And biscuits are better if you don't mess with the dough too much. So just as long as you've got all the dry ingredients together. And now I'm going to get my cutting board ready with some flour. And I'm going to use a round biscuit cutter for this. So we just want to do the last little run of that dough here. And you could go a little at a time. So I'm just going to put just enough to work with to get started. And just get those hands nice and floured. And again, just treat it like it's a little baby. Take it back and forth. And then instead of a rolling pin, you're just going to mash it down with your hands to about a ½ inch thickness. You can see the little bits of the carrot and the raisin. So like I said, this will be great for this meal just by itself with some really hot with nice pats of butter. But it's also going to be great as leftovers with that ham to stuff it. So whether you're looking for something really new and different for a menu, I've found that if the bread is new and different, you're going to have the oohs and ahs about your menu. So we're going to finish these biscuits, get them ready, and then Dillard's has a whole line of Southern Living inspired pieces that they use in their magazine and also in their home section. So I want you to come back with me after the break, because this food is going to be displayed on some really beautiful pieces, and we're going to get started with a fantastic Easter buffet. So come back with me in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. I'm putting the final touches on this fantastic display, and I'm very, very excited. Mimicked the display in Southern Living's April issue for this inspired look for April. Easter, just spring, any kind of festive occasion, it is just fantastic. And as you know, I'm in a beautiful brand new kitchen here in Woodside in Aiken, and I'd really love to welcome in Rick Steele, who is the owner and developer. How are you doing?
Welcome, Vera. So happy to have you here.
Oh, we're just thrilled to be here, and I could not be more excited about the opportunity to break in. I didn't break anything, I promise. This beautiful kitchen. So it smells delicious, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about what we did so you can kind of catch up. We have a fantastic fresh pork ham that we did. We scored the top of it, actually with a box cutter, believe it or not. But it just kind of opens up the fat rendering on the top to make almost like a crackling. It has rosemary and garlic, all kinds of wonderful seasoning. Then we did a honey port lacquer that went on the top. Cooks for about 4 hours. I know I'm killing you. So that is fantastic. And then we did a carrot cake biscuit. Remember VeryVera carrot cake? Well, this is so delicious, and it's a little sweet but also savory, and will go perfectly great with this ham. And you can use it for leftovers. Then we also did a really light dessert, especially if you eat all this. It's a meringue that we made to look like a nest. Did a little filling in the top with marzipan cheese and whipped cream, macerated some strawberries with fresh mint, and then topped it with a coconut chip. And then the asparagus, which is our last dish over here, I did a lemon vinaigrette dressing that had olive oil and all kinds of spices, Dijon mustard, salt, pepper, fresh tarragon, shallots. It's just beautiful. And I put a little hard-cooked egg on the top, and you can serve that at room temperature. So does it look good enough to eat?
Looks incredible.
Well, what I would love to hear from you is a little bit about how Woodside is involved in your development here and as a Southern Living inspired community.
Well, Woodside has been honored to be selected as a Southern Living inspired community, which is a collection of some of the best communities in the South. And we'll be having our first tour of inspired homes here at Woodside in Aiken, South Carolina. It will start April 21st and will run Friday, Saturday, and Sunday through Memorial Day, May 29th.
Well, I know for sure that is the perfect time to be in Aiken, South Carolina. I know that all of our audience is going to love to be part of that, and certainly we want to encourage that by doing a fantastic giveaway that anybody out in the audience that's listening to us right now, Rick, could win the opportunity to be part of this. So let me tell you a little bit about it. We're going to have a night at the Wilcox Inn, which is a fantastic property here in Aiken. It also includes dinner for two for that evening, 2 tickets to the tour. So that means you can come in this home and the other inspired home that's going to be in the community. The linen apron that I have on is part of it, and I love it because it has these great pockets. We've got a cast iron Dutch oven that's going to be part of it. And then my good friend Rebecca Lang is giving us Around the Southern Table, which is one of my absolute favorite cookbooks. This is about a $100 prize. We're also going to have a runner-up prize. So what we want everybody to do is like us on Facebook, share the post, tell us where you're watching it from, because we've got people all over that are watching the VeryVera show, you know, to be part of this. So in closing, Rick, you know, while they're in Aiken, tell us a little bit about what they could actually see in the Woodside area.
Well, in and around Woodside, we'll have 2 inspired homes. We have a number of parks, and it's a beautiful place. The landscape and the ambiance in Aiken is incredible.
Well, I can't tell you enough how important it is to register for this prize. I want to thank you, Rick, for allowing me to be part of this today. I want to thank Southern Living and this opportunity with them. And I want to invite each of you to not only join us over at Woodside, coming up real soon, but follow us next week for the VeryVera show.